Well, ask any small business person, and they would love to save their tax dollars. Especially in the coming 12 months where the economy is changing, it is incredibly important to make sure that every dollar goes as far as it can. And that's why my next guest could be of great value to you. My next guest is Michael Youssef from HY Accounting. He's a new breed of accountant. He's a proactive accountant. And in one case, I was speaking to one of his clients, and he was able to divert them from making a mistake that could have cost them $1 million in tax. To learn how you can take advantage of a proactive accountant to make sure that your year ahead is more successful, we're joined by Michael Youssef. Hello, Michael. Welcome to the program.
Hey Ken, thanks for having me. Looking forward to it.
Now, it's really interesting. I spoke to one of your clients, Ben Nass, who owns Laylocks Australia. They're in the road transport industry. And he had just started using you. And because of your proactive approach, he was amazed. You saved him from making some decisions that could have cost him roughly $1 million in tax. Share with us the type of thing a proactive accountant does to help their clients and why this approach is really powerful at this time in the economy.
Yeah, great question. So that one was a fun one because Ben came to us from a long-standing relationship with a prior accountant, thinking that the switching process was going to be quite difficult. But we guided him through and actually said that it's easier than you might think, and we can drive a lot of the process. Or if you want to get involved, by all means, you can get involved. So it was that kind of support, that guidance, working together, because it's a partnership, it's a relationship. The proactive side of things is I want all my clients to feel as though we are an extension of their business. You know, we're not two separate parts and we sit in an office, they sit on site. I need them to feel that we're part of their business, because the best decisions are made when your finance and your heads of the business are coming together and driving the business forward. And in that case with Ben, that's exactly what happened. A simple little email with a question prompted us to jump on the phone, organize a meeting, and then work through his thinking and come up with a strategy that got him the best outcome. And yeah, it was fantastic. I was so pleased to see his face, and he was so happy and grateful for the advice that we gave that helped him avoid a very costly mistake.
Yeah, because when I think of my accountant, you go along, they provide you a nice cup of coffee, some sweets, maybe some chocolate biscuits, and they give you a report about your taxes and your bills over the last 12 months. And I sit there, and my wife drags me into these meetings, and then they give you some suggestions for the coming 12 months. But Ben, and I was also talking to another one of your clients, Adam McDougall from Sales HQ, who are a recruitment company in the sales industry. And both of them described it was a bit like it had changed the way they looked at accountancy and how it applied in their business. They said working with you, working with Michael, they both said it was like having their own business coach. Describe how that actually happens in the real world.
Yeah, so a big part of our strategy is jumping into a meeting before 30 June to review the business, pretty much like an annual review. Let's look at the numbers, let's see what the output is, and let's see what strategies we can implement from now until 30 June to really optimize that tax number. That's one of the strategies that we use. But my skill set, I've been fortunate in my role and in my experience in my career that my skill set lies outside the traditional realms of accounting. So debits and credits and tax, yes, while I can do it, that's not where I'm passionate about. My passion is actually how to build and grow a sustainable business. Particularly now in this economic climate, it is critical that we start to think differently about our business. It's critical that we start to really understand our numbers and question our accountant. Because if something doesn't make sense, it's your business, it's your numbers. You deserve to know, and you should know. Because how can you possibly make decisions for the future if you don't understand the present and the past? And so that's one thing that we're very big on, is looking at the business, telling the story, and providing advice and guidance around, okay, what does the next 3 months look like? What does the next 6 months look like? What's the action plan? What's the strategy? What are your metrics to measure success? How do we move you from here you are today to tomorrow? And so that's an extra ability, an extra set of skills that come into our mix and come into our offering that I haven't seen in the market. It's the combination of that technical ability and the ability to really get down and dirty and understand a set of numbers, understand the tax within a business, but then not only that, the ability to go high level, the ability to now look and strategize and think big picture and say, well, here you are today, but this isn't where you want to be. You didn't go into business to stay here. You went into business to get there. My job is to help you get there. My job is to help you lay out a path. My job is to help hold you accountable so that you can realize that vision, realize that goal. And that's the part of my job that I absolutely love. It's working with a client and starting them off here and then, helping them, educating them, empowering them, motivating them and saying, well, here we are today. This is where you want to be tomorrow. This is probably the best path that's going to get you there.
Now, in talking to Ben, he also talked about the fact that when he first started working with you, he was using a desktop version of MyOb. He said it was taking him hours to go through various Excel spreadsheets and reports, trying to work out. I mean, as we all know, it is hard enough making sales as it is. And in a business like his, where he's got a warehouse full of stock, you can very, very easily lose track of it. And he said to me that using Xero, you were able to take everything online for him and his stock management became a lot easier. At the end of the day, he could hit one button and get a report knowing exactly where he stood financially. Why do you think people need to up their technology in these times?
I think the pandemic has really highlighted that businesses that embrace technology are more likely to succeed than businesses who don't. And let's face it, we live in a technological age. Look at the in just recent times, in ChatGPT is going to create disruption in so many industries. I'm waiting for more AI, artificial intelligence, to come in and actually disrupt our industry. I'm not scared of artificial intelligence disrupting my industry. I'm actually excited for it because it will allow us to find better efficiencies. It'll allow us to leverage more data and more insights. Me, I'm a bit of a geek. So I've always been a fan of technology and I've always embraced the latest in technology. I like to jump on board. And so a business like Lelox, which is so big and has so many moving parts, at that size, it becomes 1% that matters. At that size, it becomes how do we move the needle into certain areas of our business by 1%? Because if we can do that, 1% compounds into the long term. But how do you do that if you don't have the data, if you're not getting regular, if it's not real time? And that was the issue he was faced. And so what we did was we said, well, for us to do our best work, we need to put you into a system that's cloud, that's live, that we can both access and see what's happening in the business there and then. No delay, no lag. And so that was the brief. And that's what we aimed to do. And we did that successfully. We were able to move him from an old desktop version of software, migrated him into a cloud version of accounting software, Xero. But then not just that, support him in the implementation of an online cloud-focused inventory management. And for a business of that size, inventory is a very, very, very important lever to understand and control, because if you know your inventory amount, you can then make decisions around it and you can drive significant amounts of profit and cash flow into the business because you have complete inventory knowledge and control.
Now, I spoke to another one of your clients, Adam McDougall from Sales HQ, or a recruitment company in the sales sector. And he said one of the things he liked about it, because you are proactive, he said one of his fears at the start was, gee, I've got to switch accountants. This is going to be complicated. But he said you had a very simple system that made it easy to transition. And in no time at all, he was up and running with you. What is your approach? And if someone is listening to this today, what steps can they take to contact you and get something like this implemented?
It's funny, but it's also quite sad because our growth has meant that I've been able to speak with lots of different business owners and move them from their prior accountant through to our business. The process itself is actually quite simple, and we drive majority of it. It's up to the client whether they want to get involved and notify the prior accountant that they're leaving. Oftentimes they don't want to. They just want to go, okay, you guys manage the lot, and I'll just wait on your instruction. But the thing that's critical is to understand that a lot of the time it's not necessarily the process is that's difficult. It's the emotion we tie into leaving our accountant that's the most difficult thing to overcome. Because for a lot of businesses and for a lot of us, often the accountant that we have in our business might be the accountant that did our personal returns when we were employed. Or we might have migrated to somebody else, but we built a long relationship with them. But a long relationship doesn't necessarily mean it's a good relationship. So really, it's the emotion involved in switching. I can confirm and I can guarantee that we make that process easy because we can drive majority of that. But the emotion involved, and for me, the only way to overcome the emotional part of it is to start to actually become more critical, is to start to ask your accountant harder questions. Start, if your accountant isn't being proactive, be proactive with them. Ask them, what am I looking at in tax for the year? How is my business going for the year? What strategies would you advise and suggest to move the business forward given the circumstances that we're in? Those types of questions will really allow you to flesh out whether the person you're with right now is actually the right person for your future. If you determine that that's not the case, then the switching process is actually easier than you think, and we can take care of pretty much all of it for you.
Well, there you have it, a proactive accountant who is going to be working with you over the next 52 weeks to make the most of every dollar. And as we move into a recessionary climate, it's a great time to change. If you'd like to speak to Michael Youssef from HY Accounting, his details are appearing on the screen. I'm Ken Robinson. Good luck for the next 12 months, and we shall speak to you soon. Bye for now.